Good morning, everyone. It is so good to see everybody here this morning. And as you came in this morning, you picked up your anticipatory set, which is a set of questions about today's lesson. I want you to take just a moment. You're going to read over these questions, and then you're going to answer and tell me what it is you know underneath the category that says pre-answer. Now, don't get all excited if you don't know the answer, because remember, it says pre-answer. This is to show us and determine what it is you know before we have the lesson. So I'm going to give you about 2 minutes, so go ahead and get that completed. Okay, now that you have completed that, I just want you to take it and put it to the side on your desk, because we're going to take just a moment and we're going to watch a little video. Wow, that was a pretty awesome little video, wasn't it? By show of hands, tell me, how many of you have seen The Hunger Games before? Just about everybody has seen it, and that is wonderful. So let me ask you another question. And again, by show of hands, raise your hand. When you were watching that movie, The Hunger Games, did you have any idea that the story you were watching could be portraying an economic system? Do I have your attention? Listen closely, because we're going to talk about it a little bit later on today in our lesson. Today, we're going to learn about who Adam Smith was and his relationship to economy. We're also going to learn and talk about the different types of economic systems, their traits, and by the end of class today, you should be able to identify a country based on the economic system. So this time, what I'm going to do is, Susan, would you hand out these papers? Thank you. I really appreciate that. Guys, go ahead and look here while Susan's handing these out. You're going to be getting this little foldable, and it says economic systems on the front of it. What I want you to do, you can see it says traditional, command, market, and mixed. We're going to fold this up. You need to fold the tradition side back, and then fold it over and cover up the command system. And then fold your mixed market backwards, like so. Good. You're going to use this to take notes today as we're discussing the different types of economic systems. So, who is Adam Smith? Does anybody have any idea who he may be? John, do you know who Adam Smith is?
Yes, something to do with economics. I think it's the father of economics.
He was an economist. He was the father of economy. He was one of the most famous economists known today. And his reputation rests on his explanation of how rational a self-interest free market economy is today, to leading to a strong economic system. Many feel today that if he could give us a piece of economic advice, it would be to tell the government to get out of the way and to let the people figure it out, because they would, without any problems whatsoever. The world has 4 different economic systems, and they are the traditional system, the command system, the market system, and the mixed system. But before we go into talking about the different types of economic systems, let's review what the purpose of the economic system is. What is it that it really does? You can look right here on this slide, and it tells us that your economic system is a way that society and government organizes to produce, distribute, and consume goods. The economic system tries to prevent a surplus of goods and services, and a surplus means having too many, too much of, or to prevent there from being a shortage, meaning too little of goods or services. And when we think about economic systems, there are three basic questions that are asked. And they are what to produce, how to produce it, and for whom to produce it. So when we think about it, it is the what, whom, or what, how, and for whom to produce these goods. The first economic system we're going to talk about today is our traditional economic system. This was the very first economic system ever known, and it was governed based upon people's their heritage, their traditions and customs. Their economic activities centered purely around their family and their tribes of people or ethnic groups. The resources are based upon inheritances, and choices were determined by the environment. Now, when I say based upon inheritance, what that means is that John and Susie over here are expecting a baby, and John, he's just a farmer, and he has all of these resources. Well, it's just known that that baby, when it comes, it's going to be a farmer, and all of those resources are going to be handed down to him. And the resources of the environment is going to be basically what is available to grow and animals that live in that geographic area in which the people lived. So, with that type of economic system, what are the advantages to it? Does anybody have any idea? What kind of an advantage would be there to that? You're right, Susan. A lot less stress in some respects. Because we wouldn't have everything we deal with today. But yet, at the same time, let's say that the deer herd is low, and there's not enough deer that the men can hunt to provide meat for their family. Or they've had a bad year with their gardens. They weren't able to produce enough of a certain type of food to provide for their families. So that can be a disadvantage. So can anybody think of an advantage to this type of system? You're right. Everybody knew what they needed to do, and there was no squabbling over it. Everybody understood, and they just did what they needed to do. Government was not involved. They didn't have anything to do with it. So when you think about those three questions that I told you that was asked, what were they? Does anybody remember? You're right. What to grow or what to produce. How to produce it, right? And for whom they're going to produce it. That's right. So in this system, the people just produced what they needed to survive. And how did they do that? How did they do it? John, do you know? You're supposed to be Susan, can you help him out? Right. The men went hunting and they produced gardens. That's right. So, now, there's not many of those economic systems left in the world today. Only about 5% of people still live that way. Now, mind you, that 5% is 400 million people. But we see that type of economic system a lot in Uganda, Brazil. So now let's talk about the command system. With the command system, the government answers all of those questions. They decide what they're going to grow, what they're going to produce, how they're going to produce it, and who's going to get it. The government controls everything. Very, very socialistic and communistic environment. Example, you just saw the film clip, The Hunger Games. The Hunger Games is based upon a set of 4 tribes, and the government decided that they could not feed all those people. So what happened? How did the government decide they were going to deal with that? Bill? Right. They decided that they were choosing a boy and a girl from each one of the tribes. And they had to fight to their death. And whoever was left living was the group of people that were going to be fed. And the other group was going to die off. Because the government did not have enough resources to provide for both. So they were going to eliminate one of them. That's kind of scary, isn't it? So, with this type of economic system, what would be the advantage of it? What would be an advantage of it? Anybody know? Well, I can tell you one advantage of it is that there is no business cycling. You know, guys, just bear with me. These girls, ladies, you know, when it gets to be springtime, we can hardly wait for the new line of clothes to come out. And there's foods that we get in the summertime that we don't have all year round. And that during the holidays, we have that holiday food. Those are called business cycles, guys. The government, in a command economic system, they're not concerned with that. And you're not going to have it. You're going to have X amount of things that are produced, and you get it on that certain day. Example, they may bake bread, a specific type of bread, on Wednesday. That is the only time you can get that bread. Either you have the resources to buy that day, or you do without. So again, think about that. Many times when the government is dealing with some of this stuff, they have surpluses and they have shortages. Sometimes people are not taken care of. They don't have what they need. In practice, the command economy is, again, like I said, it's associated with socialism and communism. They are very closely related to each other. And I don't want to get all tied up in that because we're going to talk about that a little bit later in more detail in the year. So just don't concern yourself too much with that. Now, we've already talked about examples of this command government was the Soviet Union. You think about the Divergent Oracle, which is known as, it is the Dauntless Oracle, which is the Divergent movies, which is a spin-off from the Hunger Games. Now, mind you, guys, this setting was taken after the apocalypse. But these things have happened in ancient history. And there is nothing to say it will not happen again. So again, ask yourself those 3 basic questions when you think about this economic system. What are they going to produce? Who decides this? You're right. The government does. And how are they going to produce it? You're right. The government controls it all. Even down to for whom they're going to produce it. The government totally controls everything there. Great, guys. Okay, now we're going to talk about the market system. So guys, you should be right here on your foldable, taking your notes under the market system. Good. In the market system, it's also known as a pure market, where consumers and businesses and individuals make all the decisions. They control everything. They own their own resources. Nothing is illegal. Everybody can have anything and everything that they want as long as they have the money to pay for it. And people's income is what controls the market, based upon the supply and demand. Producers of goods decide what and how much and for whom they're going to produce it. Our father and great economist, Adam Smith, gives us the word, a French word, called laissez-faire economy, which just means allow to do. It gives them the authority to do whatever it is that they want to do. Individuals control everything. There is no government involvement. Now remember, no government involvement. So let me ask you something. Now that sounds like a wonderful thing, but is that a good thing or a bad thing? Now think about it. Just think about it. Is it good or is it bad? It's food for thought. The market economy is also known as capitalism. And as a result of that, there are 5 different characteristics of your market economy. And they are private property, freedom of choice, motivation of self-interest, competition, and limited government. Now, I don't want you to get too hung up on this because this is the basis for tomorrow's lesson. We're going to be talking about these different types of characteristics and learning about them more in detail. But then, what are the advantages to having a pure market economy? Do we have any advantages? You're right. Prices are based upon supply and demand. Anybody else? Right, no government intervention. So with no government intervention, is there a lot of goods and a big variety? Yes, there are. But again, let me ask you, is that, with the government not being involved, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Food for thought. Now think about it. So what are some of the disadvantages of this type of system? Is everybody's needs met? Sally, you're right. Everybody's needs are not met. And those people who don't have the resources to purchase goods and services, they slip into poverty because government's not involved. Remember? There's no social services to make sure that people have health care, that people have food to eat, that they have clothes. The government's not involved and there's no regulations for anything. So again, is that good or is that bad? Think about those 3 questions. What to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. So now, we're going to talk about the very last system, and that is called the mixed system. You should be right over here with your foldable, with it looking something like this, taking your notes in that last system. Okay, and as you would think, the mixed economy, it consists of 2 or more different economies. The 2 economies that we're talking about that are involved here are your traditional economy, your command economy, and your market economy, where it is a mix, where the people and the government work together to determine what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. The individuals and businesses control all of the resources. The government does not control those resources. But the government comes in and governs and helps them by setting up rules and regulations and standards that these businesses and people have to meet. And it serves as a protection for not only the producer, but for the consumer. So with that said, now I asked you a question when we were just talking about the command, or the market economy, excuse me. And I asked you if no government involvement was a good thing or a bad thing. So based on there being no government regulations to protect the business owners, nor is you as a consumer, how do you feel about that now? Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing? Good. Good idea. Bill. Exactly. Well, it sounds like we've got a lot of mixed ideas about good and bad. And guys, that's a wonderful thing. That's a great debate. And we don't all want to be like-minded, because if we were, it would be a very dull world. And we would never have any new inventions, and no one would ever look outside the box. John? You wake up there. Stay with me. Stay with me. So can you tell me, anybody tell me one of the advantages to having a mixed market? John?
More variety.
Exactly, more variety. Will we have more goods? A larger number of goods?
Yes.
Absolutely. We certainly will. So as you can imagine, with the mixed economy, with the command and the market economy, you're going to have all of the advantages and disadvantages of both economies. Yet the one advantage to all of this that is not an advantage, a disadvantage, and it's a very distinct disadvantage, is that many times when we have a surplus of supplies and goods, produce and goods, a lot of times resources are not used to their full potential. People get lazy and they get wasteful when we have plenty. And that is something to be concerned with. And another disadvantage to it all is that sometimes when the government is involved, things get slowed down, guys. We all know that. So that is definitely a disadvantage. So now I'm just going to open it up and we're going to have some questions and answers. Anybody have any questions about anything that we've discussed today thus far? Okay. So who is the father of the economic system? Who is the great economist? Who is he? What was his name?
Adam Smith.
Adam Smith, that's right. Good question, Sarah. Good. Okay, well, we're going to go ahead now, and we're going to take this lesson on up to a next level. But guys, we're going to break off into groups. We're going to have 4 groups, 1 through 4, and I have already taken the liberty to break up the groups. But in this group activity, what you're going to do is you're going to discuss different ways and ideas and props that you could use to describe a specific type of economic system. Your economic systems are inside the packet here that I've already put together. The team captain, I've already chosen that person. They're going to come up, they're going to get the packet, and then they're going to call out the team members. And the number that's on the outside of the table, or outside of the envelope, that is the table that you're going to. Table 1 is labeled right over here to the right in the front of the room. Table 2 is going to meet on the left side of the room in the front. Table 3, you're going to meet back here in the back right-hand corner. And table 4, you're going to meet over here in the back left-hand corner. Inside of your packet is the name of the economic system that you're going to try to create that video for. And also inside your packet is a sheet that says description of an economic system. There are 4 different economic systems. Inside of each envelope is a description of an economic system. It is not necessarily the same as the economic system you have been assigned to do the video for. So as you're reading this descriptor of the economic system, you have got to decide, based upon the description, what type of economic system it is. And as a group, again, I want you to decide and be able to tell me why you chose the economic system that you did, based upon the description. And then once everyone is finished, we'll go back to our seats and you will come up as a group and share with the class as a whole your ideas for the video and which economic system descriptive you got, and defend your answer. So at this time, I am going to call up my team leaders, which is Bill, Susan, Carmen, and Tyann. Thank you, guys. Go on back to your tables. Well, at this time, you need to call out table 1. Go ahead and call out, or team 1, call out your team members. Team 2, call out your team members. Team 3, your team members. And team 4, your team members. Okay, I'm going to set the timer for 10 minutes. At the end of 10 minutes, then we're going to see what everybody did. Okay, awesome. I am so excited. Everybody has done a wonderful job. You had some wonderful ideas on these different types of markets, video ideas on how to do those. You did just a superb job. Okay. But right now, I want to call your attention for just a moment for your homework assignment tomorrow. You are to read pages 75 through 86. And Bill, if you will hand out these sheets for me, thank you. Bill is giving out your homework activity, and it is on the characteristics of the market economy. So tonight, as you're reading your reading assignment, you're going to be reading about these 5 different characteristics, and I want you to jot down some notes about each one of these systems and bring it into class tomorrow, so that you can share it during class. So now I want to call your attention to the whiteboard here. I want you to take out a piece of paper and write your name on it. And I want you to answer these 3 questions for me. I want you to tell me what you learned today. What is unclear about today's lesson? If there was anything that was unclear to you, I want to know what that is. And then I want you to tell me what you know about the market characteristics. So take a moment and complete those, and you will put those in the basket on your way out of class today. Oh, there's the bell, guys. Have a great day. I've enjoyed it. Don't forget your assignment.